Over countless centuries, many military ships have been sunk mainly due to enemy fires, while some are due to accidents or caused by human negligence. Military shipwrecks provide a window to the long histories of conflict, survival, and the history of destinies. Some wreckage have been found at shallow depth or a few meters from the surface, while some were found deep from the surface. Today, the Buzz will present to you the top 10 deepest military shipwrecks in history. So without further ado, let's get started. The 10th deepest military shipwreck in history is the K278 Kamsamalidz. The K278 was a nuclear-powered attack submarine of the Soviet Navy. She sank on April 7, 1989 after a fire broke out on board. 27 of the 69 crew members survived the tragedy, while 42 perished. Researchers collected a water sample that showed radiation levels 100,000 times higher than what it is expected in normal seawater. After the incident, the crew were awarded the Order of the Red Banner. The wrecked submarine is on the floor of the Barents Sea, about 1,680 meters or 5,510 feet deep, with a nuclear reactor and 2 nuclear warhead-armed torpedoes still on board. At number 9, we have the Uss Thresher Wsn 593. This was also a nuclear-powered attack submarine in the United States Navy and was sunk on April 10, 1963, while conducting deep diving tests 220 miles east of Cape Cod, Massachusetts, killing all 129 of the crew members and shipyard workers on board. It was the third of 4 submarines lost with more than 100 persons aboard, making it the second deadliest submarine event in history. With deep search, her wreck was found within 2 days. The shattered remains of Thresher's hull were on the seafloor, about 2,600 meters or 8,400 feet below the surface in 5 major sections. At number 8 is the Uss Scorpion Wsn 589. This was a skipjack-class nuclear-powered submarine that served in the United States Navy, and it was lost with all hands on 22 May 1968. At the end of October 1968, the Navy's oceanographic research ship Mizar located sections of the hull of Scorpion on the seabed about 400 nautical miles southwest of the Azores under more than 3,000 meters or 9,800 feet of water. This was after the Navy had released sound tapes from its underwater SOS listening system, which contained the sounds of the destruction of Scorpion. The 7th deepest military shipwreck in history is the K-8. The K-8 was a November-class submarine of the Soviet Northern Fleet that sank in the Bay of Biscay on April 12, 1970. A fire on April 8 had disabled the submarine and it was being towed in rough seas. 52 crewmen were killed attempting the salvage of the boat when it sank, while 73 crewmen survived. K-8 sank with 4 nuclear torpedoes out of total 24 on board to a depth of 4,680 meters or 15,350 feet, approximately 260 nautical miles northwest of Spain. Her wreck was found much deeper than the Titanic, which is about 3,800 meters. At number 6 is KMS Bismarck, which was a battleship used by Nazi Germany's Kriegsmarine. During World War II, Bismarck was engaged by 2 British battleships and 2 heavy cruisers and sustained incapacitating damage and heavy loss of life. Most experts agree that the battle damage would have caused her to sink eventually. Robert Ballard, the oceanographer who found RMS Titanic, also found the Bismarck's wreck on June 8, 1989. Bismarck was found to be resting on its keel at a depth of approximately 4,791 meters or 15,719 feet, about 400 miles west of Brest. The 5th deepest military shipwreck in history is the K-129. The K-129 was a diesel-electric-powered ballistic missile submarine that served in the Pacific Fleet of the Soviet Navy. The wreck of K-129 was identified by USS Halibut northwest of Oahu at an approximate depth of 4,900 meters or 16,000 feet on 20th August 1968. CIA documents revealed that she sank 1,560 miles northwest of Hawaii. The official Soviet Navy hypothesis is that K-129, while operating in snorkel mode, slipped below its operating depth. Such an event, combined with a mechanical failure or improper crew reaction, can cause flooding sufficient to sink the boat. Number 4 on the list for the top 10 deepest military shipwreck in history is Uss America Cv66. She was an aircraft carrier built for the United States Navy in the 1960s. After she was retired, the U.S. Navy tested America with underwater explosives, watching from afar and through monitoring devices placed on the vessel. After the completion of the test, America was sunk in a controlled scuttling on 14 May 2005. She was sunk around 250 miles southeast of Cape Hatteras. The wreck lies upright in one piece, 5,140 meters or 16,860 feet below the surface of the Atlantic Ocean. She was the largest warship ever to be sunk. The third deepest military shipwreck in history is Uss Indianapolis Ca-35. She was a Portland heavy cruiser of the United States Navy. On 30th July 1945, Indianapolis was struck on her starboard side by two Type 95 torpedoes from the Japanese submarine I-58. Some 300 of the 1,195 crewmen aboard went down with the ship. The sinking of Indianapolis resulted in the greatest loss of life at sea from a single ship in the history of the U.S. Navy. Her wreckage was discovered on August 19, 2017 in the Philippine Sea at a depth of about 5,500 meters or 18,000 feet. At number 2 is Uss Johnston Dd 557. She was a Fletcher-class destroyer built for the United States Navy during World War II. After engaging several Japanese capital ships and a destroyer squadron during the Battle of Samar on 25 October 1944, Johnston rolled over and sank. Of the 327 crew members, 187 perished. After 50 hours at sea, the remaining 141 men were rescued by American ships. It was determined to be the second deepest shipwreck in the world, having been discovered 6,468 meters or 21,222 feet below the surface of the water. Victor Vescovo and his team made their initial discovery of the ship on May 25, 2019. Lastly, we have USS Samuel B. Roberts DE 413. She was a John C. Butler-class destroyer escort of the United States Navy that served in World War II. She was sunk in the Battle of Samar, in which a small force of U.S. warships prevented a superior Imperial Japanese Navy force from attacking the amphibious invasion fleet of the Philippine island of Leyte. On June 22, 2022, a team of explorers under the direction of Victor Vescovo found her wreck. The team determined that the wreck reached the seabed in one piece, although it hit the seafloor bow first and with enough force to cause some buckling, and observed that the ship's stern had separated from the rest of the hull by about 5 meters. The wreck of Samuel B. Roberts lies at a depth of 6,895 meters or 22,621 feet, making it the deepest wreck ever identified. And with this, the Buzz is signing off for today. We hope you've enjoyed today's video, and if you did, don't forget to hit that notification and subscribe button for more videos from the Buzz. Thank you guys for viewing in. Bye-bye.